I want to bring in CNN safety analyst, former FAA safety inspector, David Susi. David, it is not clear. It is not clear as we look at this whether the Japan Airlines flight was given clearance to land. What questions do you have this morning?
Well, not only was it not given clearance to land, that we don't know anything about it right now, but what is more concerning is the fact that it was on the runway, but it wasn't seen by the pilots as they came in to land. So they could have done a go around, but there's too many questions right now, John, as there always is with these near miss incidents and runway incursions. There's always questions about who talked to who and who said what to whom. It just it's ridiculous how unorganized these things can be at this point of such a critical juncture of the flight.
One thing I do want to point out, as we've been saying, the Coast Guard flight that was on the runway right there was destined to deliver military aid to earthquake victims on the other side of the country. Could there be a scenario, again, it was right there, the Coast Guard flight, and that's where the collision took place. Could it have been a scenario where people were saying, let's just get as much as we can, as quickly as we can, to the west coast of Japan where this earthquake has happened, and maybe some of the systems, the safety systems that are normally and should be in place, weren't functioning correctly?
Well, that's an interesting perspective because this airport specifically does operate military along with commercial airlines together. So there could be something going on with the coordination. However, the actual air traffic control on the ground at that airport is singularly controlled. There was one controller who knew what was going on at that point. But as you know, in the United States, we've had a lot of these near misses where the communication was wrong. They said, yeah, you can land on this runway. They repeat back, say the wrong runway when they repeat back, and the air traffic controller doesn't catch it because they're busy, they're moving. And there's even some issues about fatigue and duty and rest cycles that the FAA has a special panel looking at right now. But all of that is going to come into play in this investigation, John.
All right, David, as we said, this is where the plane ended up on the runway. At the end there, in flames, this is where the people on board, nearly 400 people on board, they were able to get out of this somehow, which is remarkable in and of itself. First, let's talk about what went right. All of these people, and I can give you a sense of what they saw on this flight, well, they were on here. All of them were able to get out of the front here. How were they able to do that?
Well, there's two things, John. I was in Toulouse when we did the aircraft certification of the Airbus 380 about how you test these exits. They actually put people in the airplanes, they put them in these scenarios, fill the cockpit with smoke and, well, with steam at that point for this test. And then they see how quickly they can get them all out. And so to get certified, they have to prove that they can get all of those people out within 5 minutes. Now, this was much quicker than that. They had everybody out of there within 2.5 minutes or so, which is just incredible. And it's testament to the amount of preparation, the amount of training. That's what we do to make sure that when these things happen, that the flight crew is ready for any of these events to occur and how to respond to them. And they did that fantastically in this case.
I can give you a sense of, again, this is what it looked like from inside the plane as they were looking before the evacuation. There you can still see right here. This is the plane running down the runway after the point of collision. This is the view from the passengers on board. And then just a little bit later, you can see the moment the plane is stopped here. Here they are starting to move around, beginning the process, and you can see the smoke as they're trying to get out of the plane. This gets to what you were just talking about there, David. The flight crews have extensive training on hand to handle this situation. Now, the exits on the back of the plane, the ones you can look at right here, they were not operational. What does that tell you? Does that just tell you that maybe somehow in the collision itself they were inoperable?
Well, it tells me a couple of things, John, that the impact itself was significant enough to not just hit the wingtip, it actually created a pull and crack something in the structure itself to cause the fuel and the fire to go to the center of the aircraft in the fuselage. You can see how that smoke's getting in there. If it was just a wingtip, that wouldn't have happened. So somehow when it hit that wing, it was significant enough of a damage to crack or to pull apart any kind of fuel structures inside of the aircraft, which would have been going back to the back of the aircraft as well to the fuel cell itself. So that tells me that that probably is what was going on in the back of the aircraft. So they said, no, it's not safe to go out that way. You need to come up to the front.
And again, causing all that smoke inside, and they still managed to get everyone on that plane off safely. David Susi,
miraculous.
Thank you so much for helping us understand what we see and the questions, the many questions that still remain.